The air in the honeymoon suite in Victoria Island, Lagos, crackled not with newlyweds' excitement, but with a silence so thick you could almost taste the unspoken words, hanging between Adesua and Chinedu. Adesua, her heart still echoing with the joyous hymns from their wedding earlier that day, looked at her husband, a question forming in her eyes. Chinedu avoided her gaze, fiddling with the cufflinks of his crisp white shirt. The vibrant colors of the Lagos sunset filtered through the large windows seemed to mock the sudden gloom that had descended upon their special night. Adesua had waited her entire life for this moment, cherishing her virginity as a precious gift for her husband, a testament of her unwavering Christian faith. Finally, Chinedu spoke, his voice barely a whisper, like the gentle lapping of the Lagos lagoon against the shore. Adesua, my love, there is something you need to know about me. His words hung in the air, heavy with an unspoken weight. Adesua's smile faltered. A knot of unease tightened in her stomach. What could be so important that it overshadowed their wedding night? She reached out and gently took his hands, her touch reassuring. Tell me, my husband, whatever it is, we'll face it together. Chinedu looked up at her, his eyes filled with a deep sadness. He took a shaky breath and confessed, the words tumbling out in a rush of guilt and fear. Adesua, I am not. I cannot be a husband to you in that way. In the way a husband should be. Confusion clouded Adesua's beautiful face. What was he trying to say? Had something happened? Was he ill? She searched his eyes for answers, but found only pain and regrets. Seeing her confusion, Chinedu's shoulders slumped. He looked away. Shame ached on his face. Adesua, he repeated, his voice thick with emotions. I am impotent. I cannot consummate our marriage. The words hit Adesua like a physical blow, stealing the breath from her lungs. The joy that had filled her just moments ago evaporated, leaving behind a chilling emptiness. She stared at Chinedu, her mind struggling to grasp the enormity of his confession. Impotence? Her husband? The man she had promised her life to? Tears welled up in her eyes, blurring the luxurious surroundings of their honeymoon suite. This couldn't be happening. This was her wedding night, the beginning of her new life. How could fate be so cruel? Chinedu reached for her hand, his touch gentle but filled with despair. Adesua, I should have told you before. Please believe me. I want to, but I was so afraid of losing you, the most wonderful woman I have ever met. Adesua pulled her hand away, her heart pounding with a mixture of shock, betrayal, and a profound sadness. He had known this, and he had still gone through with the wedding. In a city like Lagos, where marriage was often seen as a stepping stone to building a family, this felt like an unsurmountable obstacle. Why, Chinedu? She whispered, her voice choked with tears. Why didn't you tell me? I saved my life for you. The weight of her sacrifice, her unwavering faith now felt like a heavy burden. Chinedu's eyes mirrored her pain, tears streaming down his face. I know, Adesua, I know. I kept hoping, praying that somehow things would be different tonight, but they are not. Silence descended upon the room, heavy and suffocating, broken only by Adesua's quiet sobs. The vibrant energy of Lagos outside seemed a world away from the quiet devastation within the four walls of their honeymoon suite. The dream she had held so dear had shattered into a million pieces. What was she supposed to do now? Adesua looked around the beautiful apartment, a gift from a generous uncle for their honeymoon. It was stylish and modern, with a breathtaking view of the Lagos skyline. Little did she know, this apartment held another unexpected twist in her already tumultuous night. Just as she was trying to process the devastating news, a knock echoed through the silent apartment. Chinedu looked at her, a mixture of confusion and apprehension on his face. We weren't expecting anyone, he murmured. Adesua hesitantly walked to the door and opened it. Standing there against the hallway light was a man who had made her heart skip a beat. but not in a good way. It was Tunde, her ex-boyfriend, the one she had broken up with because he didn't share her strong Christian beliefs about abstinence before marriage. Tunde's eyes widened in surprise as he saw Adeswa in her wedding dress. "Adeswa, what are you doing here?" he asked, a hint of his old charm still present in his voice. Before Adeswa could answer, Chinedu came to the door, his arms protectively around her waist. "Tunde, what are you doing here? This is our honeymoon." A look of understanding dawned on Tunde's face. "Oh, you are the couple who booked my apartment. Congratulations." He extended his hands to Chinedu, a polite smile on his face, though Adeswa noticed a flicker of something else in his eyes when he looked at her. The situation was incredibly awkward. Adeswa hadn't seen Tunde in over a year, and now on her wedding night, after receiving such a shocking news, he was standing in front of her as the owner of their honeymoon suite. Tunde, sensing the tension, quickly excused himself, saying he had just come to check if everything was okay. But his unexpected appearance had thrown Adeswa in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Later that night, as Chinedu slept fitfully beside her, Adeswa found herself staring at the ceiling, Tunde's face flashing in her mind. He had been her first love, and a part of her had always wondered what if. The thought was dangerous, she knew. She was married now, and she had made a vow before God. But the pain of Chinedu's revelation, coupled with the unexpected appearance of her ex, created a storm of emotions within her. Over the next days, as they navigated the awkwardness of their honeymoon, Adeswa found herself running into Tunde more often than she expected. He would stop by with fresh towels or to ask if they needed anything. His presence a constant reminder of different paths she could have taken. One afternoon, Chinedu had gone out to see a doctor hoping for some answers or solutions to his condition. Adeswa was alone in the apartment, feeling lost and confused. There was a knock on the door. It was Tunde. He stood there holding a banquet of beautiful red roses. "Adeswa," he said softly, his eyes filled with a concern that felt strongly comforting in her current turmoil. "I know this might be inappropriate, but I heard things might not be going as planned." Adeswa carefully constructed walls crumbled. Tears welled up in her eyes as she found herself pouring out her heart to Tunde, telling him everything that had happened on her wedding night. Tunde listened patiently, his expressions filled with sympathy. When she was finished, he reached out and gently took her hands. "Adeswa," he said, his voice low and sincere, "you deserve happiness. You deserve to be with someone who can give you everything you desire." In that moment, vulnerable and heartbroken, Adeswa felt a dangerous pull towards Tunde. He was familiar, he felt understanding, and he represented a life she had once considered. The temptation to seek comfort in his arms, to forget the pain and confusion of her marriage, was almost overwhelming. She looked into his eyes, and for a fleeting moment she saw a reflection of her own longing, her own unspoken desires. The line between seeking comfort and crossing a boundary blurred. Just as she leaned in, a sudden wave of guilt washed over her. She pulled back, her heart pounding in her chest. What was she doing? She was married. She had made a commitment. "Tunde," she said, her voice trembling, I can't. I am married." The words felt heavy and final, a reminder of the choice she had made, regardless of the challenges she now faced. Tunde looked disappointed, but he didn't push. He simply nodded and released her hand. "I understand, Adeswa, but please know that I am here for you as a friend." The encounter left Adeswa shaken. She had come too close to betraying her marriage, to breaking the very principles she held so dear. The realization was sobering. When Chinedu returned, Adeswa didn't tell him about Tunde's visit or her near lapse in judgment. She felt ashamed and confused. She knew she needed to focus on her marriage and finding a way forward with Chinedu. Over the next few weeks, Adeswa and Chinedu sought a medical advice from various doctors in Lagos. They explored different treatments and therapies, hoping for a miracle. Chinedu was supportive and willing to try anything, but the results were disheartening. Adeswa also confided in her pastor and some trusted members of their church. They offered prayers and guidance, reminding her of the vows and importance of faith and commitment. Despite the support, Adesua couldn't shake the feeling of emptiness and longing. The desire to have children, a desire deeply ingrained in her culture and her own heart, remaining unfulfilled. One day, while visiting an orphanage in Lagos as part of her church outreach program, Adesua's heart was touched by a little boy named Femi. He was quiet and shy, but his eyes held a spark of resilience and resonated with her. She learned that Femi had lost his parents and had no other family. He longed for a home and a family to call his own. Adesua felt an immediate connection with him. She shared her feelings with Chinedu, and to her surprise, he was open to the idea of adoption. They discussed it at length, praying and seeking guidance. They realized the love and family were not solely defined by blood ties. After careful consideration and the necessary legal process in Lagos, Adesua and Chinedu welcomed Femi into their homes. He brought a new kind of joy and purpose into their lives. Femi thrived in their loving home, and Adesua and Chinedu poured all their love and attention into him. They taught him about their faith, their culture, and the importance of kindness and compassion. Years passed, and Adesua and Chinedu built a happy life with Femi in their bustling Lagos neighborhood. They became respected members of their community, known for their generosity and their strong faith. One evening, as Adesua was putting Femi to bed, now a bright and energetic young boy, Chinedu came into their room with a hopeful look on his face. Adesua, he said, "I have some news." He explained that he had been reading about a new medical procedure that had shown promising results for men with his condition. It was available in a specialized clinic in Abuja. Adesua's heart leaped with hope. They had tried so many things over the years, but this felt different. They decided to travel to Abuja to explore this new possibility. After a series of tests and consultation, the doctors in Abuja were optimistic. The procedure was expensive and not guaranteed, but it offered a real chance. Chinedu decided to go ahead with it. Adesua stayed in Abuja with Chinedu during the treatment, supporting him every step of the way. They prayed together, their faith a constant source of strength. Finally, after weeks of waiting, they received the news they had been longing for. The procedure had been successful. Chinedu was healed. Tears of joy streamed down Adesua's face as she embraced her husband. After all these years, their prayers had finally been answered in a way they had almost given up on. They returned to Lagos, their hearts overflowing with gratitude. Life took on a new dimension of joy and anticipation. Soon after, Adesua discovered she was pregnant. The news filled their home with an immeasurable happiness. They were finally going to experience the miracle of creating a life together, a dream they had held onto for so long. Adesua's pregnancy was smooth, and their family and friends in Lagos rejoiced with them. Femi was excited about becoming a big brother. The day finally arrived when Adesua gave birth to a healthy baby girl. They named her Oluwatoni, meaning God is worthy of praise in Yoruba. Their family was complete. Their love for each other grew stronger than ever. They had overcome a significant challenge. Their faith and commitment tested and ultimately strengthened. However, one quiet afternoon, while tidying up some old documents, Adesua stumbled upon a letter tucked away in the box of Chinedu's belongings. The handwriting was unfamiliar. Curiosity piqued. Adesua unfolded the letter. It was addressed to Chinedu and signed with an initial I. The content of the letter sent a chill down her spine. The letter spoke of the past relationship. One had ended abruptly. The writer mentioned a secret they had kept from Chinedu, a secret that could potentially change everything. The last line of the letter read, "Our daughter misses you." Adesua's heart pumped in her chest. A daughter? Chinedu had a daughter he had never told her about? The joy and peace she had finally found felt threatened by this sudden revelation. Who was this woman? I. And why had Chinedu kept this secret from her all these years? The question hung heavy in the air, a dark cloud casting a shadow over their hard-won happiness, leaving Adesua with a gnawing uncertainty about the man she truly knew.